Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. Sorry I'm like 1 minute late. Wow, I'm gonna wait and see who all shows up because I see Firkin here right now. Deja here is here. I'm gonna wait and see a couple more people show up before we really get started. But Firkin's saying we only have 2 episodes left. Like, how can that be? How do we have to go on? How could we go on without this show in our lives? Like, it absolutely kills me. I love this show so much. I didn't expect to love it so much, but I do. I think it's so amazing. And let me tell you what, last night's episode, I love horror shows and mystery shows and stuff like that. This is definitely not horror, but there were 2 times in last night's episode that scared me to death. And the first time I actually screamed, and that was when Renata came up behind Madeline on the opening scene, like at the beach, and like was pushing her. I know it was just a dream, but I screamed. That scared me. I knew like something like that was probably going to happen, but it freaked me completely out. And then when they had the car accident, the theater guy and Madeline with that truck coming at their window, I was like, oh my God. I think it's because I usually watch any of the shows that I watch. I typically watch them like right before bed. So I was like on my laptop, all comfy and everything. And those 2 scenes just like, especially the first one, I mean, killed me. But I'm interested to see who you guys think, if you have any ideas about who the victim is and who the killer is. I'm still getting the feeling that what I was told is not right. So I could be wrong, but there's only 2 episodes left, and unless I don't know, only thing I'll say about this is that it does not seem to add up for me at all. So I'm just gonna keep going with how I feel and what's happening in the show and how I would determine who these people are based on what I've seen, not what somebody told me. But this episode was crazy. I think we should begin with Celeste and Perry. I am losing my patience with Celeste. I actually thought when she was going to the airport, she was going to leave, like just disappear with her 2 sons and get away from that crazy man. But she's not going to leave him. Like, I think he's going to kill her. Like, I think she will stay with him until he kills her. I am terrified every time I see them together. And I'm really glad that the Lego scene was in like flashbacks, because I knew something bad was going to go down when he complained about the Legos being on the floor. And I was like, oh no, he's going to beat her over this. And we didn't really see it in real time. We saw it in flashbacks, so it wasn't as bad, but it was still super violent. And like, he was trying to smother her. I'm freaking out. Like, I'm starting to really get upset with her. And I know, I don't really know from people I know in my real life, but I know that sometimes people who are in abusive relationships actually want to stay. Is it Stockholm syndrome? Like, they want to stay with the person who's their captor, essentially. She just doesn't want to give up on it. I don't know. I just don't feel like she's staying because she's scared. I feel like a part of her really wants to be with him. Like, she kept telling the therapist that she had, they have a good relationship. She's madly in love with him. I mean, he is beating her. He is unpredictable. Hi, Vanessa. Thank you for being here. Every time they have a scene together when the boys aren't there, I'm thinking she's dead. I'm thinking she's gonna die, And again, that's nothing anyone's told me. I don't know if anything like that happens in the book, but that's just from what I'm seeing. Deja says you feel like now it could be the guy that always serves Madeline, Celeste, and Jane. It seems like he has been in every episode. So the first time I paid attention to him, I have seen him in every episode, sort of. He's kind of in the background, but I felt like they really made an effort to point him out. He works at the coffee shop, and I don't even know his name, to be completely honest, but I kind of got the feeling that he had a crush on Jane, like when it first started. But I feel like he's kind of listening to everything they're saying when they're together. And I think that's a very observant point, Deja. Like, I feel like, why are they highlighting him? And they really wanted us to pay attention to him last night. And he probably knows a lot of stuff that's going on in their private lives because he's eavesdropping. Vanessa says, do I think Saxon Banks, who Jane visited at the office, was really the guy who raped her? That was the big question I wanted to ask you guys. I feel like no, because she seemed very, very mad when she left, but we could take that 2 ways. One, she may be really mad because she came in there intending to kill him and she chickened out. Or 2, she came in there thinking that it was this guy who raped her, but when she talked to him and everything, she figured out this is not the guy. So she was angry because she still doesn't know who he is. Firkin says, you don't think it was him, that's why she left. Yeah, I mean, she left and she was full of rage, and I just feel like either it was him and she was like wanted to go in there, wanted to shoot him, and she missed her one and only chance, basically, or it's not him and she's so angry because she really doesn't know. I mean, personally, I'm so hoping it wasn't him because I want it to be one of the people in the show. I don't think it's the coffee guy, but one of the dads, Sadly, we did not get any closure on Amabella's situation. I didn't think we got any clues either. I have no idea. A lot of people in the comments from last week think that it's one of Celeste's sons, but I've never seen anything weird out of them. I mean, they seem like sweet boys. Maybe they're not, but they're not giving us any clues to help us figure out who is the one abusing her. And Vanessa says Jane finally met one of the dads in this episode. Right. So that was Renata's husband who she met at the school. Jay, tomorrow we're going to have a live chat. He's asking when we're doing the live chat for all the shows. That's going to be tomorrow at 5 p.m. We're just going to have an open chat about every show that I cover or covered. We can even talk about stuff that's over. I don't care. Because I know there's so many things, especially with MTV Scream and what happened with that people actually just want to chat about. So we're doing that one tomorrow at 5 p.m. So hopefully all of you guys will be there. Dave's just asking if anyone noticed Ed looking at Abigail again, and I did, and I still think something's wrong with him. I think I actually dreamed about this last night because I was just going to tell you that didn't someone say that guy is creepy? I felt like somebody said that guy was creepy in the show, that Ed was creepy, but I think now I just am thinking that through dreams. Hi, Chase. Thank you for being here. I'm expecting the chat to be at least an hour, as long as we have, a lot of people here and people are talking. If it's just me, I mean, I could talk for days on all the shows I watch, but that's no fun. And Vanessa says that Jane's actually met Nate too, Madeline's ex-husband. Yeah, I mean, personally, Nate is like a non-factor for me. I don't see him being involved in what goes down in the finale, but I mean, we haven't been led to that, But again, I'm getting these vibes that something is up with Ed and Abigail. Abigail, I thought, acted really weird about being in that house again. I don't know. No, I haven't watched the originals, and currently, something else I want to talk to you guys about. I have like little free time because I'm watching Twin Peaks, and I'm almost finished with season 1 of this show. I'll probably go into that more tomorrow. So let me just quickly tell you that it's coming out. A 3rd season is coming out in May on Showtime. And this show is from like 1990. So it looks very, very different for me. It looks very old. But we'll talk a lot more about that tomorrow. But I just want to let you guys know if you want to watch it. It's on Netflix, the first 2 series. I've been struggling with it, but I actually kind of like it now. So I will probably be covering season 3. So if you want to watch, obviously I never watched when it was first on. So if you guys want to watch it, it's on Netflix if you have access to Netflix. So by saying that, I don't really have time for any other new shows currently, but it takes a lot of time to watch that because there's a ton of episodes I have to watch. And Vanessa just started the 1990 Twin Peaks. Okay, hi, Eli. That's right. I get confused. I know, Firkin, I'm worried about the 2nd season of Twin Peaks because I've been talking to some of you guys about it on Twitter, and people are telling me that the 2nd season's not that great. But I need to try to get through it because I do have a lot of hope for this 3rd season because, thank God, we're going to be in present day. And I'm just wondering, I know a lot of the cast is supposed to be in it, and some of them must be super old by now. But anyway, let's talk about that tomorrow because I don't want to get too off base, but I am worried about the 2nd season. The 1st season's actually gotten good. So back to Big Little Lies. You guys can let me know if you have any predictions about the victim or the killer at this point. Now, I started becoming quite suspicious of the theater guy. What is his name? I feel like he's kind of obsessed with Madeline, and I know she has definitely brought a lot of this on herself. And then, like, when she showed up at the hospital and she was, like, crying, it was almost like she was trying to tell him she had feelings for him. His wife stepped in, thankfully, but I don't know. I just feel like that's a toxic situation because now in the hospital, he seemed to want to move on and not have anything to do with her, and she's not going to have anything to do with the play anymore. So it seemed like maybe it's a resolved situation, but to me, this guy seems very like a ticking time bomb, and I could see him being the killer, honestly. And I'm just talking from what I've seen on the show, not from what anybody told me, because I just think, I don't know. I mean, don't you guys think he's a little, I know a lot of people on this show are just like loose cannons, but his behavior yesterday was just weird to me. Okay, Eli, thank you so much for stopping by. Deja is asking if Ed will ever find out about Madeline cheating on him before the show ends. I think so. I knew it was going to be so suspicious when people found out that she was in a car with that theater man. Does anyone know his name? I feel awful calling him the theater guy. Because like, why was she in the? She actually had an awesome story that really didn't seem like a lie when Ed questioned her about it. But I think you can tell that his wife, theater man's wife, is suspicious of Madeline, and I honestly thought she was around the corner listening to everything Madeline was saying to him. I was like, oh, she's about to get busted, like, because she was saying a lot of stuff about what had gone down with him. Yeah, so it's like, I'm looking at the theater guy as a possible suspect because he's kind of a dark horse, and it's just, I don't feel like he's just toxic, Firkin says, did they have sex in the car before the accident? We've seen flashbacks of that before, but I am believing that was one of the times they hooked up in the past, but I don't know. Maybe they hook up again in like the next couple of episodes. So Deja says, apparently we're supposed to know about this project that Abigail is up to, and I think it's going to be a lie, and Abigail is up to something else. So yeah, it almost to me sounded like she was like auditioning for a risque movie or like porn or something. I don't know. It just seemed like something not great, and her dad seemed to just kind of brush it off, but that's where it was like some kind of photo shoot that was risque or something. Okay, so thank you, Vanessa. Tom is the server at the coffee place, so thank you. And if anyone knows theater man's name, I'm sure I could find that, but if I get off this screen, then it'll be a mess. But I'm sure that's on IMDb. And I saw Firkin wonder about Bonnie. Now, Bonnie to me hasn't seemed suspicious at all, so I'm curious as to why you think she would be involved. I mean, I feel like she's barely on the show. Like Bonnie's kid, they're barely on the show. Thank you, Makara. So Joseph is the theater guy. I just feel like, the people that we barely see, like, are they going to be a main player unless something major goes down next week? We are going to have a scene with Bonnie and Nate next week. They're going to have that dinner. Hi, Ralph. Thank you so much for being here. So, I don't know. I just thought, gosh, I thought last night's episode was probably one of the best episodes they've done. But honestly, all of the episodes have been so good, and it just kills me that this is not a regular show. Like, it's so great. And I just keep thinking, like, maybe they can have another, they're not. It's a miniseries. It's not even like a season, but it's just excellent. Do you guys have any more guesses about who is bothering Amabella, who is bullying her? I feel like we didn't get any clues to help us figure out which kid would be doing that. But I wonder what's going to happen with Jane. Like, I really want to know if that guy was her rapist or not. I'm kind of thinking he's not, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm trying to think what else we need to talk about that happened last night that we haven't, because a lot of stuff went down. Vanessa says, do I think Jane is going to be stopped by the police, or maybe they were just passing by? So Jane was doing some crazy stuff. She ran at least one red light. She was probably speeding, and she also has drugs in her car. Now, marijuana is legal in some parts of California, I think, but I don't know if that's going to factor into anything. I don't know if it's legal there. I don't know. Maybe the whole state's legalized now. I don't know. But she definitely needed to be pulled over. So she definitely could have had a terrible accident or caused someone to have an accident by running a red light. Deja says, I'm curious as to how long Perry has been abusing Celeste. She mentioned miscarrying 4 times, and I'm thinking maybe he abused her while she was pregnant. Wow, I never even thought about that, but that is so sad. And maybe that's what happened. He could have thrown her down the stairs or hit her in the stomach or something. And that is really sad and terrible. It's weird because I feel like he really does like children, I guess. I mean, he wanted to have another child, but maybe he just loses his mind even when she was pregnant, and he's not even thinking about the fact that he could hurt the baby. I don't know, but he's completely crazy. Yeah, Celeste is not a fan of Legos. That scene, again, like I was saying earlier, I'm so glad we got the brutal beating scene in a series of flashbacks instead of seeing that in real time, because I really am having such a hard time with these scenes between Celeste and Perry. I get nervous. I literally get nervous when they are left alone in a room because I know he's going to beat her. And it's awful. Bradley's asking if I will do reaction videos for season 3 of Scream. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch. I'm definitely planning on watching. I'm not happy with any of that, as you probably saw in my last video, but I'll check it out. I love Scream so much, so I will check it out. So I will be planning to do videos, Bradley. So Vanessa thinks the entire state of California you can have marijuana, so that's probably not going to be an issue, but she's definitely needs a ticket for, I mean, she's got reckless driving. She definitely should be charged with that, unless it's just a fake out and they were after somebody else. That's probably happened to you guys, where you're driving and you think you're speeding, and maybe you are, and then you see like a police officer turn their lights on, and I've even pulled over before and it wasn't me, but I actually have been pulled over for actual speeding, so no fun. Ralph says he was pelting her with Legos. Yeah, awful. The worst was when he pushed her face into the pillow and it looked like he was trying to smother her. And you know what? I didn't realize how many bruises. She has bruises on her thigh, like giant bruises. It was so sad to me when she was sitting in the car putting all that concealer on. She has bruises all over her entire body. Like, what a sad, terrible situation is that? It is so sad. Deja says Perry is really keen on having another child, and you're also thinking that maybe he cheated on her as a way to distress her because she couldn't get pregnant for a while and kept miscarrying. Oh, sure. I mean, I still feel like he definitely could be the rapist, and he's probably cheated on her a million times. I mean, especially because, excuse me, especially because he's traveling all the time and he's just a dirtbag, Tutti Frutti says, you guess one of Celeste's twins could be bullying Amabella, like mimicking Perry, but what you don't think that's the case because they don't know what Perry does. You still think Ziggy is guilty. I'm still leaning towards Ziggy being guilty as well. But now I wanted to say this about the therapist, and I haven't said this. This woman is realizing that this relationship is abusive, that Perry is dangerous, and I'm so happy that she is trying to help Celeste, even though I don't know if Celeste will go back because she doesn't want help. So, Celeste seems very sure that her boys have never seen the abuse, but I'm with the therapist. I think they might have, and if they haven't, they'll learn about it. So I definitely think that it's going to be known to them, and it may already be known to them, even though Celeste thinks they're in the dark about it. Ralph says she could have a prescription for marijuana, which is right. Absolutely. And, I don't even know how big of a deal that is if you get pulled over with that, even if it's not legal, because it's not like cocaine or something. But now also she has the gun, which I didn't think about. So she's also got a gun with her. I would think she would have a permit. I don't know, because she was going to the shooting range. I don't know if they make you, I feel like she was using her own gun at the shooting range. So I feel like you would have to show that you have a permit for that. If she doesn't, that's going to get her too. But regardless of all of that, she was recklessly driving. We saw her run a red light. She'll get a ticket. She won't go to jail, but she'll get a ticket for that. But I wonder if they're going to push that further and say she didn't have a permit or something for her gun. Vanessa says Celeste should just admit the abuse to her therapist. Well, I feel like she pretty much told her, but she didn't think she was telling her. The therapist knows exactly what's going on. But the problem is Celeste doesn't want to get out of the situation, and she doesn't want help. And I kind of feel like she won't go back to the therapist because she's afraid the therapist is going to try and make her leave Perry or something, and she doesn't want to listen to her anymore. Deja says, you're thinking the same year he raped Jane was the same year that Celeste was pregnant with the twins, since the kids are close in age. Yeah, that makes sense, because they're actually the same age, probably. Ralph says anyone can have a gun, but you need a permit to carry in public. Yeah, I mean, so she would have to let them know if they pulled her over that she had a gun in the car, right? So I feel like, I don't know, I've never been to a shooting range. Do you have to show any kind of permit when you're in there? Because you brought the gun with you. You brought the gun in your vehicle to this shooting range, right? So you have that in public. Yeah, like Ralph says, the therapist knows because it upset the therapist knows. And I don't know how legally this works, but this is something we've discussed before. But when does the therapist have to call the police, or is she still under a like a vow of confidentiality? I mean, but basically she knows that crimes are being committed here and that Celeste is in danger, literally in danger. So should she tell the, is she at this point, can she go tell the police or what? I'm not sure. Ralph says the therapist is Calamity Jane from Deadwood and the Sam Crow lawyer from Sons of Anarchy. Now, those are two shows I've never watched, but maybe some of you guys watched that and you recognized her. Hi, I like that. I like that. Hi, Callie. Thank you. Vanessa says Celeste could talk to Jane about the abuse because she has been through almost the same thing, but I don't think she will because, again, I think she really enjoys everyone thinking they have like a storybook marriage and a perfect life and he's just the greatest. And, that's kind of what she was trying to tell the therapist in between telling her that he's abusing her. Okay, so Vanessa says you pick a gun from the shooting range. Okay, so you don't come in with your own gun. you see, I don't know much about guns. So, okay. So I don't even know if that's going to come into play with her being pulled over or if she's actually being pulled over or if someone in front of her was being pulled over. We don't know. Tutti Frutti says Celeste couldn't even talk to her therapist about her abuse. There's no way she's talking to Jane. Yeah, I mean, she's protecting Perry, absolutely. And I think she actually believes that he's a great husband and a great dad, but she thinks, sometimes he gets angry and sometimes he takes it out on her. But there's so many she kept saying, there's so many great things about him. Like, you just don't leave a situation because, this is her logic. You don't leave a great situation because somebody has a few things you don't like about them, which obviously is a really wrong way to look at things when you're a victim of abuse. But I think that's something that abuse victims deal with, where they're making excuses for their abuser, and that's like the situation that she's in. And it is so sad. I really hope there's some kind of resolution to all of that by the time the show ends in 2 weeks, because I really want him to go to jail or something. Like, it really hurts me. Deja says, doesn't Celeste and Perry have a nanny too? I wonder if the nanny knows that there's abuse going on in the house. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we haven't seen her. I don't even remember what she looks like, or I feel like we haven't seen her recently, but I just feel like I'm wondering if any of the people in the community suspect that she's being abused. I would have to say that with all of the bruises on her body and everything, no amount of makeup can always cover those kinds of things up, especially a dark, dark bruise. And having bruises like on your neck and, like if you have them on your legs, okay, maybe you can make up a story for that, but you can't constantly have bruises and people are going to notice them. And you can't always be saying, yeah, I fell every week. You're not always, have bruises constantly is not normal. And like I'm saying, even if you put a bunch of makeup on, I still feel like people, especially your friends, would see it. So I'm just wondering, like, do they not see these bruises, or do they choose not to see them, or do they not suspect anything? I just feel like if I had a friend who was trying to cover up all those bruises all the time, I would notice it at some point and I would start getting suspicious and concerned. I don't know. Callie says, you don't know, but Celeste's name makes you feel like she would die. And every show that you've watched, characters with names related to the sky, like celestial names, go to paradise. So we'll have to see. I mean, I think she's a candidate for dying because her husband is practically almost kills her every time we watch the show. Ralph says the decorator was more than likely gay. There was a pic of him and another guy in the office. This is Saxon that he's talking about. And it might be his husband or boyfriend. Jane noticed this and that's why she left. She knew who was the wrong guy. So that's super observant on your part. I remember her walking over looking at those photos, but I didn't pick up on exactly what was going on in those photos. But I definitely got the impression that this was the wrong guy. And I think she was so angry because she's now completely lost again about who it could be. And I'm still thinking it's one of the husbands, which is good for us because I didn't want it to be this random man who has not been a part of the story. And Eli's saying the abuser needs to leave. I mean, but most of the time they're not going to leave because, well, they know they can get away with it. It's a victim who has to find a way out.
And I don't know how that's going to go down because she doesn't want a way out right now. And it doesn't seem like the therapist can talk any sense into her. So I just am very concerned about what's going to happen between both of them in the next couple of episodes, the last 2 episodes. Vanessa says they finally are going to get a teacher's aide to watch over Ziggy and Amabella. I mean, I hope this woman or man catches whatever is happening or whoever is bullying her. I definitely think we will get an answer about that, but I'm really curious to see what is actually going on there. So, but I just, guys, 7 episodes for this show is just way, way, way too short. But they're basically just telling us the entire book. I keep wondering, like, will they make a sequel to the book or something? But maybe with the way that it all ends, there just wouldn't be any need for a sequel. I completely refuse to Google about this show because I'm afraid that some of the other questions I have are going to pop up, you know, in some article or something, because I don't really know exactly how much the book, if it's completely 100% like the show, and some of these mysteries like the rapist and Ziggy and Amabella, are they in the book? I don't want to know, you know. Deja says Ziggy seeing the picture of Saxon might make him believe that he's his dad now. Yeah, I mean, I kind of had a feeling, and they do so much with the flash forwards and flashbacks. I felt like maybe Ziggy was going to get into her laptop when she was asleep and try to find more out about this guy. I'm not really sure, but there's something else I wanted to mention. When Jane was thinking about Ziggy, did you see those kids like poking at the dead rabbit? Were they trying to insinuate that Ziggy had killed that rabbit? Because I'm still thinking Ziggy's the bully. Somebody left me a comment, I've never seen them before, telling me I was very stupid because it's obviously not the person who they accuse. But I think that's short-sighted, because sometimes they go out of the way to make someone who is accused look not guilty because they're tricking you reverse because they're really guilty. And I kind of think that's what's going on here. But sometimes people don't think about how they're writing a comment like it's coming off very rude. Like, you know, whatever. I get a lot of crazy comments, but it's just like, you know, think about what you're saying before you do that. Everyone's a real person on the internet, so there's no need to be like super rude, but I know most people don't care, so whatever, or a lot of people. Ralph says, notice that the redheaded housewife is always around listening to everyone, knowing everyone's business. That woman is Sinclair. She's the woman who played Sinclair on How to Get Away with Murder, the most like deplorable character on that show. So that's interesting to me because she's doing a lot of the interviews too with the police, but I really paid attention to her last night. Vanessa says they actually thought of making a 2nd season for The Night Of, but you don't think they will. The Night Of was okay, but I felt like the finale was very underwhelming. So yeah, abusers are bullies are bad. Yeah, absolutely. They're bad people, Eli. And you know, actually most bullies are people who have no self-esteem and low self-worth. And I would imagine that Perry had some traumatic stuff happen in his childhood, or maybe people bullied him and he has like some sort of self-esteem issues. So he feels like if he beats up his wife, he's always in control. I don't know. I know that's really mixed up, but obviously you're not thinking clearly when you're abusing someone like that. Ralph said, you don't understand why Celeste told Perry to pick up the toys when she knew what would happen. Did Celeste actually want Perry to attack her? Right. So I knew when she talked back to him that was so stupid. I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm really struggling with her because I feel terrible for her, but her actions in this week's episode are just making me feel like she's never going to get the hint that this man's going to kill her until she's dead. Like, what is going on? But I still feel like she's been beaten down so much that she doesn't even have any self-worth anymore, and she's never going to leave. Like, I think she's staying until she's dead. That's what I think. I don't know. He's going to kill her. He's going to kill her one of these days. That's just what's going to happen. So I don't know. I mean, does she enjoy being attacked? I would hope not, but I don't know, because that's really twisted. I haven't watched American Crime, Vanessa, but a lot of people have suggested that I watch that. But The Night Of was very slow. I'm glad I watched it, but it was nothing. This show is so much better. Big Little Lies is so much better. Ralph says Perry might have been molested or beaten as a kid by a family member or a bully. Absolutely, because that actually is something that usually serial killers and just people who commit a couple of murders, or they usually have like traumatic stuff in their past, and it makes them not be a normal member of society and do bad things to other people, even people that they claim to love, you know. Callie says that's why I prefer anti-villain or anti-hero or over heroes, because they would give terrible characters what they deserve, while a hero would be less effective. Deja thinks words come out of her mouth and then she realizes at the last second that it was the wrong move. Yes, but also, as Ralph is saying, Celeste knows that every time Perry beats her that there's always sex afterwards. But honestly, the scene last night with the Legos, I felt like he was raping her. She looked like she was in pain. I mean, I know they have like crazy sex in all these episodes, but did you see her? Like, I thought she was like in serious pain, but maybe she's enjoying that. I don't know. Like, there's obviously something off with her too, because, you know, I mean, I've never been in that situation, so I can't speak for exactly what would I do, but like, just the way she acts with the therapist is concerning, because she doesn't really feel like she should leave, and she keeps taking up for him, and I don't know. It's just a bad situation, and I'm really expecting her to be killed. That's what I'm expecting, and that was not told to me. I'll just be honest. It wasn't told to me that he kills her, but I'm just thinking that's going to go down. William says you think one of the twins is bullying Bella. You think one of them saw Perry hitting Celeste and thought it was okay to hit girls and women. Well, especially since the first incident that happened with her was that she was choked, and how many times has Perry choked Celeste? So they definitely could have seen their dad doing that to her. Deja thinks another reason she doesn't leave is because maybe she has self-esteem issues because she's older than him. Is she supposed to be older than him in the show? Like, I don't know how old Alexander is. Is he like 40? But is she like 50 in real life? I don't know if they established that she's a lot older than him, or if we're supposed to think they're the same age. I don't know. She looks older than him because she is. She doesn't, I mean, she looks awesome, but you know. Ralph says, and after beating and sex, Perry always cries like he has a split personality and does not know what he does after the fact. Yeah, like he kind of regrets it, which he probably kind of does. He's definitely got massive, massive mental issues. Like, I don't know. Okay, so they've established that she's older and he's younger. I do kind of remember that, maybe in the first episode. Okay. But yeah, I mean, you have to say that she's got some kind of self-esteem issues, whether it's because of the age thing or maybe she's had them all her life. And I do think she also wants to stay because of the kids, but you know, he seems to really care about his kids, but he's really unpredictable. And with that type of a violent person, what if they made him really mad one day? You know, what if he decides to lash out on them or beat them? You know, so Alexander's 40 in real life, and I feel like she is, well, she might be late 40s. I don't really know. Callie is asking if I watched the show Feud. Susan Sarandon as Bette Davis and Baby Jane in Feud. They almost look alike. I haven't watched that show yet. I definitely want to, because a lot of people have been asking me to watch, but I just don't have the free time for that right now, but I hope to get to that. Okay, so Nicole is 49. Deja says maybe Perry's been abused as a child. I think that's very likely. And William says you just think she needs to leave him because nothing is worse. Nothing is worth saving that horrible marriage. And I was really thinking she was going to the airport to leave him, but she was going to the airport to greet him. So very sad. Ralph says, notice when Amabella was asked who attacked her, she looked at another kid off screen, then pointed to Ziggy. This means she was scared of the real bully and put it all on Ziggy. So yeah. So who is it though? I mean, they've barely introduced us to like any of these kids. We know Chloe, we know Celeste's twins. We don't really know a lot of the kids. I mean, we know Bonnie. Bonnie has a little girl, but like she's barely on the show. Ralph says Feud is crazy and Joan Crawford was a horrible human being. Yeah, I need to watch it. I know. I mean, I usually like Ryan Murphy's stuff. I've watched I actually didn't watch the OJ show, which everyone loved, but I've watched most of his stuff and I usually like what he does. And it's usually very crazy. So is there anything else we haven't discussed from this episode that we need to before we go? Just one more time in case you were joining a little bit late. I'm going to do a live chat tomorrow at 5 Eastern, same time as we did this one. And I expect it to at least be an hour, depending on if we're having a good conversation. But every show that I've covered
whether currently or stuff that's even, you know, ended that I used to cover, whatever. It's just going to be all about different shows. So hopefully you guys can come to that so we can talk about Twin Peaks and MTV Scream and Pretty Little Liars and whatever you want to talk about. I mean, any of that stuff. I think that'll be really, really fun. Ralph didn't think that you would like Feud, but you're enjoying it. It honestly does not look good to me, and I do like Jessica Lange, but it's like it seems like that storyline is not going to be interesting. But literally 6 or 7 people have tweeted me saying that I should watch it. So, and when I get a lot of you guys telling me to watch something, I think I've pretty much always liked it. Oh my God, this is great that you're mentioning this. William's asking if I'm going to watch the Netflix series 13 Reasons. I was watching something the other day. Maybe it was something on Netflix. I don't know. Some show, or maybe you do, but I got a preview for that and I was like, oh, that looks like my type of show. So yeah, I do want to watch that. Look into that, guys. 13 Reasons on Netflix. That looks good. I think it's a teen kind of show again, but it definitely looked like something I would like. And I wanted to tell you guys about it and I forgot. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. Yes, Callie, very shocked by Scream. You can watch, I don't know if you've seen my video, but I did a rant on it on Saturday. But we're definitely going to get into that more tomorrow, so I hope you can make it. 13 Reasons Why. It was also based on a book. That's interesting, Vanessa. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm very sad that we only have 2 more episodes of this show. It's incredible. And of course, the actors are incredible. And I'm so going to miss it so much. I'm expecting really big things from the finale. And I'm still hoping and thinking that it's not going to follow the book. So we will see. But thanks for being here. I hope you guys have a really good week. And I hope you can come tomorrow for my chat. And if not, of course, you can watch it later on whenever it's posted on YouTube. So bye, guys.